Francis.
Your name is pronounced Augie, right?
Yeah, Augie.
I was like, I don't know how else it would be pronounced.
Yeah, some people call me Augie.
Augie Bello, Augie
Ow.
Bello.
Yeah.
Ow.
Ow. He's a
Augie
G.
Bello. That's an awesome name, dude.
Thank you, man. I
What
basically, my first name and last name, I cut them both off.
What do you mean?
So my full name is Agostino Bellocco.
Oh my God, really?
Super Italian.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. So I just figured.
Hold on. Agostino Bellocchino.
Agostino Bellocchino. That's what I should have gone by.
That's awesome. That's not what it is?
It's Agostino Bellocco.
Dude, that is fucking rad. Oh my God.
It's super Italian for sure, but I was like, you know what? Let me make something that's a little bit easier, something that the kids can remember. Or
hold up.
Yeah.
So you just needed like a state. You were like, all right, I know I'm going to be a rock star, so I need to minimize my name so that the kids can scream it from the crowds when I'm out there slaying my saxy.
I would say my goal was for people not to for me to have my own Facebook, which is
Sure.
separate from my artist stuff, and then also something that I thought sounded cool. So like my sophomore year of college, I was like, what if I just chop off this and chop off that and call it a day?
Oh, that's awesome, man. It's cool that you could do that. Like, were you already being called Augie from like early on then? And like you knew that? Was that like kind of a nickname already?
Yeah, a lot of my friends had called me Augie, so I was like, you know what, let's just cut off the last name and roll with it.
Yeah. Wow, man. That's awesome. My name is Julian Gavilanis, and you can't do shit with that, man.
Yeah, but Gavilanis, that sounds like some type of Greek god.
Yeah, it does, but it's Ecuadorian. And because of the way I look, people always are just like, oh, that's Greek, right? And I'm like, no, it's Ecuadorian. And then people just laugh at me because I look like such a all-American fucking douchebag. Especially when I used to have my frosted tips. People were like, dude,
oh yeah,
what
man,
are you talking about?
I saw you with your frosted tips on that special, man.
Oh yeah, dude, rocking those frosted tips, man.
Hey,
man, I was chasing models, baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You got to see it?
Oh yeah, of course.
That's awesome, man.
Incredible.
That's awesome.
I watched all.
Yeah, man. Really? Did you?
Yeah. I watched the Valentine's Day one, and then the
Christmas one.
The Christmas one. Yep.
That's cool, man.
Yep.
Dude, that's so cool. Honestly, because like as I think we've kind of already introduced you with talking about your name, but I think I want to let all the listeners know who probably know you on this podcast more than they know me. This is Augie Bello, and I became kind of privy to you well before like Teddy Swims tried to connect us recently. I had just been like, somebody sent me like an Instagram video of you like playing sax to like DMX or something like that.
Oh,
and I was just like, oh my God, dude, this is so funky and so cool. And like, I don't typically just like get things from people like, when people just like share a video with you in your DMs and you're just like, cool, man, like, thanks, I guess.
Yeah, you like it.
I don't like go. Yeah, you like it, and you're like, fucking great, man. I appreciate it.
I didn't want to see that, but whatever.
But I like went into your page and was just like, oh my God, man, I like scrolled and like went through and watched all this stuff, and I was like, who the fuck is this kid, man?
Oh, thank you so much.
And it's just so it means the world to hear you saying that you like watch our stuff, and it's just like,
dude,
we didn't realize that like that our worlds would collide this way,
100%. Yeah, no, I remember just hearing about the podcast first, and then like following on Instagram, and listening to a bunch of clips. I listened to the episode with Teddy, and I was like, these guys just, I mean, it's there's so many things that are just destined to happen, and it's funny how many ways that things connect. Like someone sent you a video of me, and I had already been seeing videos of the podcast, and I know I met Teddy, and then you guys all hung. It's like there's so many ways that this would have happened, which is crazy.
Well, totally, man. And it makes a lot more sense for people who are actually like in the music space. But
Of
for me,
course.
it's been such a privilege for me to be best friends with Alan, because
Of
I
course.
I get this front row seat to all of this cool shit that I wouldn't be a part of otherwise. Because like I'm not a musician, like
Yeah,
I
yeah, you're
like
not.
to I like to sing and dance and act like an
Yeah.
idiot, but like by no means am I like a professional musician. And I've just felt so spoiled by my relationship to Alan,
Yeah, of
because I've
course.
gotten to meet all these cool musicians and
Uh-huh.
artists along the way, and I get connected to them. And then through doing this podcast and through making these movies with him and stuff,
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh man, like I really love what you guys are doing," and I'm like, it almost doesn't translate in my brain
Yeah.
yet to be like, you can't like what I do, because I don't do anything. Like I like what you do. So it's
I
been like this
know.
adjustment,
Of course. Of
but
course. But
it's awesome, man.
yeah, I mean, that's the
It,
coolest thing is like connecting with people with different skills than you and just like being able to experience their world through them and them being able to experience your type of your talents, your gifts. And then, the greatest thing is building a team of people who have all these gifts and pushing it all forward towards something, which is, I feel like what you and Alan are doing, which is awesome.
totally, man. I mean, we don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to like talk with each other,
Of course.
have
Of
like
course.
conversations, and then connect with new people. And recently, and we'll backtrack, but
Yeah, of
Teddy
course.
Swims, who was obviously a part of our Valentine's Day special, obviously like becoming a worldwide phenomenon as we speak.
Yeah.
You've been on the road with him,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, "Oh yeah, he was. You guys were in New York, or you live in New York,
Yeah, I live
and
in New York.
so he was like, yeah, my saxophonist plays or lives in New York." And I was just like, "Oh sweet." He's like, "I want to link you guys up,"
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know it was you, because I had been like following you and knew who you were already.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so when he hit me and he was like, "Hey man, like things are crazy out here. I'm not gonna be able to hang, like whatever. I'd love to still like link you with my friend." I was just like, "Oh shit, dude, this is your friend. Augie is your friend, man. I fucking love this kid. This is
Thank you.
amazing."
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
so yeah, dude, like the worlds do collide, and it's so cool to be a part of all of this stuff, and to be like really just seeing. I don't know, like I think for me, like as an actor, because
Yeah,
I spend so much time around people who are acting and doing like that craft and trying to
of
build
course.
that world for them. It's kind of refreshing to get to be around so many musicians, because I
Yeah.
know it's not something that I'm gonna like excel in. So I don't feel like that. Oh my god, I feel like I should be like comparing myself or fucking
No, that's
worried about something. So I can just really appreciate what you guys do and
that's
not feel bad.
yeah, that's the greatest thing is like meeting people with so I went to the new school for jazz for college,
Cool.
and the cool thing about the new school was there the new school itself was comprised of like five different schools, so to speak. There's like
Mm-hmm.
the school of design, the school of architecture, the school of there's a classical music school, there's a graphic design, photography, video. So like you could make so many friends in different spheres. So like I made a friend, his name is Zamir Zarouk, and he is an incredible photographer and videographer. And it's like he'll say something to me like I don't understand how you do that, and like how do you play like that or perform like that? And I'm saying the same thing to him. Like he'll show me a video that he took, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. And like to be able to link up with people who can share their gifts to create like
Right.
one great thing is just a gift to be able to do that. So
Right. Yeah, man. It's really incredible, man. Again, like there's no other word for it other than privileged for me, man. I just feel like
yeah,
I'm so grateful to be able to like share my space with, like to be able to be on a podcast right now with you. Like and like I got to get your number and text you, and you were like, "Yeah, of course." And I was
of
like, "Like
course.
this is cool, man. Like I now like there. How am I able to do this now? And I think a lot of it I've had to kind of like get away from this idea that like, oh, I'm like an Alan Stone conduit, and just kind
Yeah,
of be like, well, fuck that. Alan's not here. Like I'm your friend. We're friends
yeah,
now. We're gonna
dude.
hang out. I'm
Of
gonna come
course.
listen to you to you play, and uh, and we're just gonna chill, man, and be buds. And like
100%. Yeah.
that's really what it is.
Yeah.
I'm interested, man. Like you said, you went to the new school, and I kind of want to like go back because you have such like I don't know much about sax and or
Yeah, yeah.
like the brass world at all, but like it seems like one of those instruments that people get into when they're in like middle school band, and they're just like, yeah, I guess I'll like do this, and like this seems fine.
Yeah.
Because like somebody else is already playing guitar, and like somebody else is already playing drums, so
Yep.
fuck it, I'll do this.
Uh-huh.
But you have like I don't know. I sometimes I'll like throw on some Kenny G, and I have my own Kenny G story of meeting that guy, and I
Yeah.
like it's so unbelievable. It's so silky. It's so smooth, and I always was like, God damn it, dude! If I had a band, I would
Yeah.
really look for two people. One would be like a sick violinist to just come and
Yeah.
like enhance the sound, and the
Mhm.
second would be a saxophone player exactly like you. So I feel like you're
Thank you.
such like you don't think about it when you're younger, like learning how to play,
Yeah.
but when you are now where you're at, like you have obviously become such a huge asset to somebody like Teddy, who you're now playing with. Like, where did you go? How did you come up with the idea to like really get good at sax and do that?
Yeah, so from a young age, so at age like when I was like around 3 or 4, my sister started to take piano lessons, and I like loved seeing the fact that she would, sit at a piano, at the time play something that was very basic and I mean, not very hard to do.
Mhm.
And the whole family would gather around and like they'd come together and be like excited about, oh wow, that was great, great job, and this and that. And I just saw like the power of being able to, change people's day, with music and give
Mhm.
people like a positive outlook on whatever's going on. It takes them away from that moment. So, if you've got a bunch of stuff going on in your life that you're not happy about, you start listening to some music or it just pulls you right from that. So I remember seeing my sister started to take piano lessons when I was around 3. So at around like 4 or 5, I was like to my mom, I was like, I really want to, take piano lessons. I really want to learn how to play. So I started taking piano lessons when I was 5. When I was 7, I really wanted to play the saxophone because my grandpa was a saxophone player,
Oh,
and
cool.
he never pursued it professionally. He probably could have, but he had his own wedding band, and he put himself through college with his wedding band money. So,
What does that
um,
mean?
so like he
Oh,
basically.
his wedding. I thought you meant like his like wedding ring band.
Oh, no,
Like
no,
I
no!
was like
Yeah,
he like
his
sold it to a pawn
he
shop.
sold it.
Like
He's like, "Hey, this wedding band,
yeah, his actual
no."
wedding band.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, so he performed, like, for a bunch of weddings and basically that money put him through college, and my grandpa has always been someone, that I have aspired to be like, because he is the type of guy who, like, he comes in a room and everyone loves him, he knows how to make people feel great, he could play the music at one point, he stopped playing, for a little bit, but uh, he's always been someone that I've looked up to a bunch. So I really wanted to learn the saxophone at age 7, and he was like, "No, don't
Wow,
learn the saxophone. Learn the clarinet first, because let's say you play on Broadway or something, they're going to want you to play the saxophone and the clarinet." And
smart.
yeah, so I started taking clarinet lessons when I was 7, and then at age 11, I started taking alto sax lessons. Basically, at the age of 13 to like 17, I was taking piano lessons, clarinet lessons, alto sax lessons, and tenor sax lessons
Jeez, man.
at the same time.
Is that because you were just like really loving it and like seeing progress and like actually like kind of like had like an inherent ability to do it?
I mean, I played baseball at one time, but there was nothing that I felt that I was like more meant to do than
Yeah.
music. And like for me, like my biggest motivations have been obviously people I look up to and who inspire me, but also has been like someone telling me I can't do something. So like there were some
Mm.
lessons where I would come in for a lesson for piano or saxophone, or whatever, and I know I didn't work, I didn't practice on something, and and I'm really happy I had teachers like this who were just brutally honest with me. They'd be like, you know what,
Yeah.
like you didn't work on this, maybe we should try something else, like because
Yeah. You're not cut out.
you're not cut out. And man, for me, like those people pushed me to be way better than I would have been, because I knew that as soon as I heard that, the next week I was like going to shove it up their ass and be like,
Yeah.
well, you thought I
Look
couldn't
at
do
this,
that.
bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could do everything that you told me I couldn't do. But I think for music, for me, the reason that I've always gravitated towards it and like worked on it, and it's just because there's times where maybe I'm not the happiest person, but I know if I force myself to, like in New York City, I can go out and street perform. If I force
Right.
myself, like if I see that something I'm doing is like lifting others up, then that automatically will lift me up too. So it's just like a positive. It's always been something that I've seen lift people up and lift myself up. So
Yeah.
um,
Did you have the wherewithal to kind of push forth from those notes of your instructors pretty early on? Were you like 7 years old, being like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck you! Like you said, I can't. I'm going to." Like, was
yeah,
it
I
young?
that was from a young age. It's just like,
Oh,
I guess, like Italian thick-headed guy over here.
mm,
like someone
totally.
says, like not like like not in a negative way, like, oh, you're not allowed to do this. It's in a, well, there's a bunch of that too, where I'd be like, oh yeah, well, watch this.
I'm Agostino Bellacino, motherfucker. I can do whatever I want to do, baby. Watch
I'll
me.
show you. Watch that.
Yeah, wow, man,
But
that's crazy. And so, when did you start? Like, I feel like talking to you, I feel like you could have like gotten into Juilliard or something with your abilities. Like,
well,
when did you know that you were like, okay, like this is sticking. I'm doing this.
like at age if you look in my elementary school yearbook, it says, future profession, and it says like musician, or like,
In your elementary school yearbook.
yeah. So it was
Wow.
basically like, I've always enjoyed, even beyond music, I've always enjoyed like entertaining people. So like if I'm at a party, or from I'm like out with friends, or even when I'm making content, like there's some stuff where it's literally like, I'm just trying to make you laugh, I'm trying to make you smile. And like basically my goal every day, excuse me, my goal every day is to make someone smile. So like whether I do that with music, or I make someone laugh, or like I bring someone up from like them going through a rough time, I feel better about that day. So for me, music has been one of the biggest parts of that, and me combining my personality with the music has also like helped me. It's kind of like it's something that's you know great, I guess, for others, because it's lifting them up, but like it's actively making me feel better about things, and be able to work
Yeah.
on things, and take me out of, if I'm having a rough time with anything, I can pull away from it, just,
Totally.
with
That's a
with
great
that.
balance to have, man. I think and I don't speak from my own experience, but
Yeah.
I can imagine that when you get really good at something, like notably good, remarkably, uh, a big ego can be attached to that. And I
Yeah.
think your interest in trying to do it for the purpose of making people smile, making people laugh, bringing people
Yeah.
joy, kind of just like allowing through your medium of making music or
Yeah.
dancing or singing or playing, like out on the street, whatever you're doing, you're giving people permission to kind of like take themselves out of their own bullshit and
Yeah.
and kind of like remember that, oh shit, life is cool. And I think
Yeah.
that lends itself really well to you not having to become an asshole, by
Yeah.
being
No.
like, I'm really good and fuck you guys because I'm really good.
Yeah, I've always hated like people like that. It's like, if you're really good and the music is good, like let it speak for itself. Don't be this guy who's like unapproachable and like, what I did, man. Like I've this sounds a little rude, but like someone who's a little less talented and is like a great person, I would
Yeah,
much rather work with
totally.
them than work with the guy who's like, I'm the best, and you have to
That's what
understand that.
That's what I'm banking on, man. I'm not banking on my talent at all, dude. I'm just trying to be cool in the world and
Man,
move myself up the ladder, dude.
but if you are cool and you surround yourself with cool people, then that's,
Yeah,
you're on the right trajectory.
yeah.
Trajectory.
I agree, man. I agree. I feel like you were like kind of almost a prodigy. Is that true, or is that
uh,
speaking out of turn?
I mean, I will say I wouldn't consider myself a prodigy, just because now with the internet, like you see these. There's a kid, Justin Lee Schultz. There's this other kid, Raghav, who's a drummer. There's a list that is the absolutely
These
insane
these
of
young ass
these
kids that are just
these. Oh my god,
ripping.
there's these like 14-year-olds and 13-year-olds that like are way beyond what I feel like I will ever be at musically. What I will say about myself though is there's there was something within me when I was born. I would say like I definitely worked and continue to work really hard to be where I am. But there's a technical ability, which is one part of it, and then there's I think that there's pieces that can't be taught. So it's like maybe you have worked on 1,000 different lines and you know how to play 1,000 things, but when do you put that? When do you play that part? Do you play it 4 times? Is the audience reacting to it? Do you do this? Like there's some people who I feel like will work forever on like and technically can like do so much, but don't know when to use that knowledge and apply it in a way that comes across coherent. And I feel like I'm lucky in that maybe I have a limited bag of tricks, but I feel like I can convey something well. And that's not something there is parts of that that can be taught, of course, like, you know, you tell someone, hey, you know, if you played something cool, play it again, you know, sit on it for a while. But people's defaults, like my personality is when I come to a room or I come into a party or something, like I'm able to like read the room pretty quickly and like find out, you know, where's the line of like jokes,
Sure. Yeah.
who's this, who's
Right.
that. And I think I apply that to my music too, of like what's worked in the past, what are
Yeah.
people liking, what's not working.
Yeah. Alan and I talk about that a lot, man. There's like a
Yeah.
social awareness to being, especially like in being a creative or an artist. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you see so many people that are so consumed by their art that they become like very introverted or hermit like, and
Yeah.
kind of just like closed off to the world because they're so engaged in what they're doing, and they're brilliant at their thing, but
Yeah.
they're completely incapable of recognizing social cues, knowing when to, like, you know, read a room and
Yeah.
being a good judge of character. And it's
Mhm.
hard because it's just like, oh man, you know, those are like savants and stuff like that. But still, there are so many people in the world that
Yeah.
are just like, they just don't get it. They're not connecting. They're not
Yeah.
clicking in.
And I have other friends who have like a different mindset on things. Like I know a bunch of people from my school that like literally have told me about, you know, oh, I was doing this gig at a bar and like it was awful. Like people were talking and like, and for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm doing a gig at a bar, right? First of all, it's a bar. It is a place for social gatherings where people
Right.
go to meet up and have fun. Second of all, is their mindset is, hey, you should be respectful of the music and you should listen to me. My mindset is I have to command the attention. If you're in a loaded bar with tons of people and you can get them all to shut up and listen to you, you're doing something right. But
Yeah.
other people's mindset is, hey man, like respect my music and my art, and this is what it
Totally.
is. But I've never had that mindset. I'm doing it for the people, and lucky for me, like a lot of the music I love and stuff lends itself to that. So I will say I'm lucky in that regard. Like I know a bunch of people who are obsessed with jazz and like the old school stuff, which there's maybe a little bit less of a market for. But for me, like I love pop music. I love R&B. I love hip hop.
Yeah, man.
So I try to bring in how would a saxophone work within this and try to show people like, oh, it can actually work if you wanted to put it in there, it could work.
Yeah, man. I love what you're talking about in regards to being in like a bar and you know, feeling that element of crowd noise and people talking amongst themselves,
Yeah.
and recognizing that it is the job of you specifically to silence them by letting your music speak for itself, if that's what happens. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it just is what it is. That's just
The
part of the
bar.
thing. So like, but I think through your approach to being so eclectic uh, in your desire to kind of like play different styles of music, like again, that first time I went through your Instagram, I was like, oh my god, like I think I saw like some hip hop track that you were playing sax to. It was like songs that sax shouldn't go over or something like that.
Yeah.
You were like making kind of like a series or something about that. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, dude, this is so cool. In fact, sax should go over these songs now that you have done this, because it's like you're completely recreating these songs. And it was so great, man. And I think that, like, I don't know, it's just really, it's really refreshing to hear, because you're relatively young, right? You like graduated from college just a little while ago, right?
Yeah, I graduated 2020, so right during the pandemic. So I'm 22 now.
22?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Like it, I'm that's so it's just again, man, like it's very refreshing to hear you talk about these things and have the attitude that you have
Thank
at
you.
the age you're at. I really just applaud you for
Thank you.
thinking, being so forward thinking in the way that you approach your music, and don't fuck that shit up, man, by getting too big. I think
No. I never ever. I always like. I don't know. I feel like there's so many people who are like in my head, like so much bigger than me that have helped me and like have taken me under their wing and have been a huge part of my journey. That like I'd never want to be the guy who's like too big for anybody. Like that's that I've never liked that attitude
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I don't
terrible.
think anybody likes that attitude, man. I just
No,
think it kind of like you just adopt it over time, man. Like,
I guess.
you meet people who have just been doing things for, decades upon decades, and it's just like it just doesn't have the same uh it doesn't bring them the same joy anymore. It doesn't seem as fresh to them anymore. And
Yeah.
it's just a job. And I'm not saying that as like this is like, hey, prepare for like, your 40-year anniversary to just be miserable at all.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's definitely something to keep in mind as an artist to be like, okay, how do I? And I think you're doing an incredible job at it in
Thank you.
keeping things fresh and, trying to like reinvent your own sound and what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And to never feel like you are there, I
Yeah.
imagine, you've been on tour with Teddy Swims for the last, how long? Couple
It's been a
months?
month. Yeah.
It's been a month, and
Yeah.
I bet that I've been seeing some videos of you guys, man, and you guys are playing to tens of thousands of people, right? You're like
Yeah.
arenas.
Yeah. So our biggest crowd was Fenway Park, which was 38,000 people.
Oh my
Um.
God, dude,
Yeah. It was. It was.
that's insane. Have you
Yeah.
played?
It's a little.
I don't want to be presumptuous, but you haven't played in front of that many people before, have you?
No, never. I mean, I think like the biggest thing I did before them was like a color festival, which was probably around like 10,000 people.
I mean, that's still pretty big, man.
Yeah, but this was like, and it's funny, like, um, that show was just everything that could have possibly went wrong just went wrong on that show.
Mm,
Like,
really?
yeah, we like we all got off stage and we're like, oh damn, like we just like embarrassed ourselves in front of like so many people. Which like
No.
looking back on videos, we're like, it literally went really well. Like for us, like we had some issues. So like basically the show started and like the drummer's in-ear monitors weren't working. So like the show usually starts with like these huge like drum hits, right? And
Yeah.
he's just sitting there like I can't hear anything. So he's not playing and it's just guitar.
God, dude,
But he was
that's like
smart,
the
he
biggest
made it
fear.
work. I know, yeah. So he like came in like at a good time, but like that first happened and then it was like a roll of gaff tape fell off a one of the boards and hit the power supply to the
Come
wireless
on.
mics. So Teddy's up there. He's like, and
Oh
then all the
no.
audience is hearing is like, is he singing? What's going on there?
Jeez,
It looks
dude.
like he's screaming, but I don't hear anything. Um,
Wow. Oh my
yeah.
God.
So my mic cut off, his mic cut off. It was only like 5 seconds, and like we bounced back from it. But like it was just also because you're in Boston, the radio frequencies would like cut out. Your in-ear monitors would disappear for like a second, and like if you pop out your in-ear monitor at Fenway Park, all you are hearing is the slap back from the back of the arena. So let's say you're singing da da, you would see this.
Yeah.
So like
delay.
yeah, you'd be like 2 seconds behind. So we're just like we chugged along. It came across well, which is the most important. Like we had a really fun night after. But like yeah, this
Bet you're stressed the fuck out.
oh my gosh, we were on stage and I just saw like all of us. Like I'm looking at Teddy and I'm like I remember at one point of the show like because he like Teddy is like the guy who you've never heard. Like I've never heard Teddy like out of tune. I've never heard like
Really?
and like I'm watching him and he's in tune, he's killing it, but like he's nervous that he's not, right? So like I remember during the show just like grabbing his shoulder and be like, dude, you're killing it. Like, come on, let's keep going. And like our in-ear monitor mix guy, like his name's Doran, he's awesome. Like super great guy, super great at what he does. And I just remember him like being in our ears, like on his mic, just telling us like,
Oh,
hey guys,
cool.
y'all, you're killing it. You're killing it. Like, keep it going. Just
That's
like
awesome,
pepping us
man.
up.
He can he can talk to you guys through those in-ear monitors too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he can
cool.
talk to us. So like basically in our ears we have like stuff that just doesn't come out to the audience. So like it's like him. We have like a click track. We have a guide track. So it'll be like chorus 2, 3, 4, and so it's pretty like straightforward performance wise. Like where each section is, but like when when you expect it and then it's like cutting out and fly.
Oh
Like
my
we were.
god, dude, that's terrifying.
Oh
I
yeah.
did or I didn't do anything. I went with Alan one time to watch him sing the national anthem for like a Seahawks playoff game, and it
Oh
was that
yeah.
same delay. And not only was it a delay, but him and I had like a fucking bender the night before, like a few nights before, and like we had been like smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey and just going after it. And I picked him up to go and like sing this thing, and I was like, "Bro, how are you gonna do anything today?" He's just like, "I don't know, man. Like, I'm just gonna do it." Went up on stage, we like did a rehearsal, and it did that delay thing, and I was like, "Oh my, dude, how are you gonna do that?" And he did it during the well, 70,000 people were in there. I was like, I mean, obviously, you just tune out and sing the national anthem, but like easier said than done, man.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, I feel like I was having like secondhand panic attack, man. It was real crazy.
It's funny, like all the shows after that, I feel like we were really comfortable, really locked in. And watching videos back of that show, it's just like when not everything is how you expect it to be. Like we thought, oh, this is coming across awful because we can't hear certain things, but like what was going out to the audience was basically perfect, other than like the 5 seconds of like, no vocals, which Teddy is like truly like one of the best performers I've ever seen in terms of like everything. Like the guy does a split, like he hops.
Does he do the splits? Is he like actually like ripping the splits out fully?
He is like legs are totally.
Wow, dude!
He hits.
That's that Diamond Dallas Page workout program.
That's right, man. That yoga really has loosened him up.
Damn, dude, that's wild.
Yeah, but Teddy like puts on like this incredible show, and it's like, for me, it's such like an honor to be a part of that, and like,
cool, man. That's so great. Yeah, I've only seen him, playing in like the little lodge space, which is honestly, so great because it's just like so intimate and awesome. Yeah. But I've yet to go see him live, and I mean, you guys are opening for the Zac Brown Band, right?
Yeah. So we actually just did the first month of the tour, and he has different openers for the rest, because we couldn't do the rest of the tour because we're doing 2 festivals in September.
Okay, which ones?
We're doing Life is Beautiful Festival in Vegas on the 17th, and then we are doing Music Midtown Atlanta on the 18th.
Oh, and that'll be huge because that's hometown.
It's hometown.
Teddy Swim's hometown hero at ATL. That's gonna be cool, man. Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like from the videos that I'm watching of you guys is that, being an opener, sometimes it's just like cool, like, we're not even gonna show up till the real band gets there, and we're not gonna get into it. It's whatever, like it's just opening music. But it seems like you guys are like really captivating this audience, and people are like coming out and like really supporting you guys. It's just like, damn, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. The first show, I would say that was kind of the vibe. Like, because these arenas and like amphitheaters and whatever are so huge, a lot of the main tickets are lawn tickets. So like sometimes the front seats won't fully pack in before you start, but like technically there's a ton of people in the lawn, but it's weird because you feel like you're like, mainly for our first show, it felt like we weren't really performing for too many people, but there were a lot of people in the lawn.
There's still like 20,000 people there.
So. Yeah. So, but like it seems like as we've gone along, even after our first 2 concerts, like the crowds have really been there. So like Fenway Park is nice because there's nowhere to tailgate. Like you're in the middle of a city. Zac Brown Band, I think like a lot of their fans like to like hang out in the parking lot, drink a bit. Like they have their
Yeah.
barbecues. They're like,
They're
but like
Budweiser and hot dog drinking and eating both.
exactly. So they're a lot of them like to tailgate and wait until Zac Brown comes on. But places like Fenway Park, there's literally you are in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
There's the park. So like that was packed, and from there on out, it was pretty packed. And like the shows, it's also like Teddy's performed with Zac Brown like each night. And I
Does he
feel like
just
that,
bring them up like when he's
yeah,
playing? Yeah, that's great.
yeah. Zac Brown will pull him up. He did like Tennessee Whiskey the first night with
Wow,
Zac Brown, and then
that's
uh,
awesome.
yeah. So
That's so cool, man. It seems like
yeah,
you guys are having such a blast and just really like staying present with the given moments that you're being blessed with, man. And it's so gratifying just to see you guys and to like
yeah,
watch you guys be doing it, man. And I don't know Teddy all that well. I met
yeah.
him during that Valentine's special. I mean, he met Alan and I together like 12 years ago coming to an Alan
I
show, and
heard
he
in
was
the
just
podcast.
yeah, he was just drunk. He was just like,
Yeah.
bro. His friend was like, bro, can this guy sing for you? And I was like,
Oh, yep.
sure. And he starts singing, and it's just like, whoa, dude, what
Whoa.
the fuck? And then we went out and proceeded to get absolutely shit faced
Trash.
drunk and act like idiots. But
Yep.
God, man, it's like he's one of those types of guys, and I'm sure, and I have a feeling you're the same type of guy just from getting to chat with you for a little while and knowing that you're a part of his camp. In that, like, he's one of those people that you can connect with immediately and just feel like home with.
Yeah. Teddy's
And
the
it's so he's like, I don't know, man. There's something about him, like, and it's the it factor thing is kind of obvious, but it transcends even that. In that, like, his like spirit is so good, and he's so kind and generous to be around. Like, even the way he shouts out all of his people and is constantly like reposting people and saying things about this and that. It's just like,
yeah.
God damn, dude, you're really like doing this the right way. I think, I don't know what
Yeah.
that is, but it seems like you're doing that, man.
Well, yeah, I mean from the moment I met Teddy, it was like we were friends forever. It was like
Yeah,
he is the type of guy who wants to give everyone the world. So like one good
to a fault.
story, yeah, almost to a fault, but from what I've seen, that's what he needs to like.
Yeah,
He
it's
needs to
purpose.
do that. That's like his purpose, and like
Yeah,
that's always been his purpose. There's the story of how like he basically told all his friends like he was going to put them on salary in 6 months.
right.
And
Yeah,
then like a day before 6 months, he got signed and was able to put all of his friends on salary.
yeah,
Like he's
yeah,
when an artist gets signed, like is their first thought, all right, let me put all this money towards my friends and growing. Like that was him. Like let me get all my friends are so talented that I want them all to be fully working on this music thing, and that's who he is. It's like this isn't my money, this is our money, and this is our journey. Like I've said to Teddy 1,000 times, like, dude, like this is just the start for you, and like this is incredible that Zac Brown's singing with you, and he's like, no, this is the start for us. We are, everything that he does is like building like almost a culture and a family that all comes up with him. So
yeah.
I don't think that there's a lot of people like that, and that's really what makes him special. Is just that he is that guy who wants to get to know everybody. He wants to,
Totally.
you know,
And that's what's so interesting, man, and like, interesting about you as well, because like I put you in that same category, man. Like
thank you.
you're ascending alongside of him, and it's interesting because I think the farther you get, the more unreachable or unattainable you seem to become. And like
Yeah,
I bet you've already started experiencing that with friends that you like grew up with and stuff that are just like, oh, Augie's like famous now, and like it's whatever. I'm not even gonna reach out because I just assume he's too busy. But it's just like, yes,
yeah,
I am, but like I also like that I need that. I need you
yeah,
guys to be that people for me. And
yeah,
um,
100%. And sometimes it's tough to be honest because like I will get messages from people who are so nice and they're like telling me how I inspire them and this, and of course I respond to a bunch of them, but there comes a point where like my social media becomes like flooded. Like I can't see messages from my friends, and like there does come a point where you have to say, okay, like there's so much I can do, and as much as my overall goal is positive and to be helpful, then I'm not a bad person for like not answering 100 DMs about what mouthpiece do I use,
Right, dude.
which is
Yeah,
kind of hard for me
exactly.
because I do want to be reachable, and I think for the most part I am pretty reachable. It's just um the bigger it gets, even for Teddy, like the bigger it gets for him, like he's still sharing a bunch of man, I'll say it, man, his social media, his messages and stuff is a mess.
I
It's
bet.
just all day, just like
Yeah, just
ding
all
ding
this.
ding
Yeah,
ding ding,
yeah,
like all day, man. And he's the
yeah.
guy who like he's trying to get back to everybody. And man, I don't know how. like
I know he was doing it when he was with us too, man. I was just
yeah,
like,
it's just
it was
damn. He's got his
crazy, man.
notifications on and stuff. Man, and he's like actively, man,
Yeah,
it's
man.
great.
I mean, there's a way of mitigating all that stuff and trying to have boundaries with all of
Yeah, of
those things.
course.
And I think it sounds like you're trying to figure out that balance with yourself right now
Yeah,
too. And I don't know, man. Like, there's also a certain kind of way to approach you at the same time.
uh-huh.
Like you get people that just want to fan out for no apparent reason rather than just to get a response from you so that they can like share it on their page and feel like they've done something with themselves.
Yeah,
And so there's like this self-seeking, validating kind of performative aspect to it in
yeah.
itself, and so you
That's
have to like learn how to filter that stuff out. And I see that more than ever, man. Just being a product of the Alan Stone camp with what
of
I'm doing
course.
here is that people will reach out to me and be like, "Hey man, like I love you. You're the best. Here's a video of me singing. So you send this to Alan?" And I'm like, "Whoa, dude! Like this is fuck, like
Yeah,
and I don't have the kind of like social media ish like outreach and amount of people following me as you guys do. So it's pretty easy for me to like sift through all that stuff.
for
But
sure.
still, it's just like, what are people's real intentions? And you
That's
want to be kind to everybody. You want to be
yeah.
good, but everybody isn't actually even being kind to you and how they do it. So it's just
Well,
like,
yeah. I would say for me, like that's kind of the worst part about the social media. So like I need to do the social media. Like I
right,
it's something that like has become like a part of me and that I
yeah,
enjoy doing. It's like, let's say I wake up one day and I've done my emails and like I have time. It's like this is something I enjoy to do and this is something that will grow me. But I will say, like, so I started posting on social media in my sophomore year of college, and like I actively know people who like I would say hi to in hallways and they would just like walk past me. Like, and I'm the type of guy who like if I've seen you once or I've spoken to you once, I'm gonna say hi. I'm like
yeah,
very sociable. Um, who would just walk past me. I know other people who like were like, "Oh, that's Augie, the social media guy," and they would laugh because like my sophomore year, I had like 1,000 followers, and I'm posting like incessantly. It's like
yeah,
3, 4, 5 posts a week, and I am like pushing
totally,
and pushing and pushing.
yeah,
I basically had a friend, Tiana O'Hara, who dropped out of the new school and started putting out these videos, and I saw her like grow this huge following, go on this massive tour, and like I was like, you know what, like why can't I continue school and like try to do that? But I had people who like would make fun of me for it and this and that, and then as soon as there was like a glimpse of like growth, and I got to a point like basically it's gotten worse and worse with like fake people and like that same guy who wouldn't say hi to me, that guy now is like, "Yo, Augie, like, so great to see you." Like, and for me, there are people like that who I know we're not real and we're not cool. But
totally,
if I met them right now, I would think, "Oh, that guy was super cool. He was super nice." So the one negative thing I think about the social media is people's perception of you is kind of warped. Some people, it's kind of warped to this person can get me something, and truthfully, like if there's someone like Teddy or there's someone like me, like my friends, like are the people that I want to see like succeeding and doing incredibly. Like I want to introduce them to all the people that are successful, and I want to help them. I want to do a video with them. I want to help them grow their page. So part of them is right where I can help them achieve something, but I hate that because
yeah,
I've had friends in the past where it's like I've my other friends who have had for a while have been like, hey, it seems like they're only friends with you to do videos, and like it's not really like they won't hang out with that friend won't hang out with all of us. Like they're only hanging out with you, and like I've had a couple of instances where I'm like, maybe no, like no, that's not the case. And then like further along the line, I'm like, oh, I think that is the case. So um, the one like negative would just be like if you were walking and you saw Johnny Depp, you would want Johnny Depp to love you. Period. Like you say one thing, you go, oh, I really like, I really like, Florida tomatoes. I really like Florida tomatoes. And Johnny Depp is like, oh, I've never really. You'd be like, yeah, I'm not really like my grandma has like but I don't really love that. Like people switch their opinions to conform to like how
Yeah.
someone is, and I
Yeah,
I
man.
don't like that so much.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and just having a social awareness with
Yeah,
yourself. And that's not as common as it should be, unfortunately.
yeah,
And I don't know, like that goes into like the whole conversation of like nature versus nurture. Like where are you picking up these values for yourself? Where are you, like, I used to work in a bar for a long time, and I would
yeah.
see these guys come in, like this shitty like divey sports bar that was like all staffed by women, and I would see these guys come in and like have this approach towards women every single night that was like,
Yeah,
bro, like what do you like,
it's
do you
awful.
think that this is gonna work? Like, when has this ever actually worked for you?
Yep, yep.
And it's just like so many people just don't have the social aptitude to be a regular person. Like, for me, when you say like, oh, if you saw Johnny Depp, you'd want to connect with him. Sure, but I would only want to connect with Johnny Depp on a
A
working
real,
level. Like I
yeah.
would, like, or like on a real level. Like I wouldn't,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
wouldn't want to. I heard a really cool interview with Will I Am, and he was
Uh
talking
huh.
about how when he was a kid, his mom got him tickets to go see Tribe Called Quest, which was his
Yeah.
favorite band. And he was just like, oh my God, like this is amazing. This is like the greatest gift.
Uh
He
huh.
was like a poor, struggling kid, and he was just like, this is amazing, Mom. Like, thank you so much. This is huge. He was like, but I have to decline. I'm not going to take these tickets. And she was like,
Huh.
what are you talking about? They're your favorite. And he was just like, I don't want to. I don't. It was like a VIP thing too. Like, we're gonna meet the band and
Meet
stuff. He
him.
was like,
Yeah.
I don't. He was like, I don't want to meet them this way. Like, if I'm gonna meet them, I want to meet them like on my terms, like working with them in like a real
Real.
way, and like and have like a real connection with them.
Of
Well, you
course.
fast forward like 10 years, and he's like they're opening for him. It's just
Oh,
like this
awesome.
whole full circle situation,
Yeah.
and that's such a cool attitude to have. Not to be like arrogant or cocky, to being like, oh, like they're gonna open for me, or I'm gonna meet them on my terms. There's just a way
Different
to
light.
approaching people, and there's a
Yeah.
way to communicate with people. And again, man, like I feel like that's my only asset in my life. Like, I
Of
don't consider
course.
myself like a talented actor as much as I consider
Well,
myself
you
like
should.
well, it's fine. Like I can, but I think it's rooted in being authentic and genuine and
Of
kind,
course.
and
Yeah.
like and having uniqueness in my personality,
Of
rather
course.
than like following suit and being somebody who just like conforms to like the Florida tomato line. Like, oh, you don't like that? I don't like that either.
Yeah, like
Um,
I feel like that too, because like I have never like there's a bunch of times where like I disagree with someone on something, and it's not like I'm gonna shy away from it or something.
yeah,
But I will also say though, there is something to not being egotistical, but there's also something to saying, hey, I've worked really hard on this. If someone doesn't like it, that's fine, but there's gonna be someone else. Like feeling confident in the work that you've put into something is also, I think, really important. Like I have friends who are looking for restaurant gigs, and they'll go in like saying, well, I'm not going to get this, like, because I'm not, what am I going to offer? And I'm like, no, like for certain gigs and for certain things, you have to like have the mindset of, if they say no, then like, wow, that's their loss. Like I'm going to go to the
yeah,
next place and like
totally.
really show them like, I could be an asset.
Totally, man. And I think that takes a certain level of like almost delusion to believe in yourself to that extent, to
Exactly.
be like,
Yep.
okay, like I know my worth, I know my value,
Hmm.
and it is your loss. And I think eventually, after you've put in the time and energy with all this stuff, your work just starts to speak for itself, and it becomes
100%.
undeniable.
Yep.
I remember going with Alan out to like coffee shops when he was first starting, when we were like 19 years old, and
Yeah.
nobody was at the coffee shop besides me. And I was
Yep.
like out on the streets, like, you guys, you have
Check
to
this
listen
out.
to this. you fucking idiots, what is going
Yep.
on? Like,
Yep.
listen, this kid. And
Uh-huh.
and nobody was. And I was just like in there just dancing like a fucking moron. And
Uh-huh.
eventually that, like, I like we'd start getting, I remember like selling tickets to kids. I remember like I had a conversion van that I would drive
Uh-huh.
around, and I remember selling tickets to this one kid, shout out Cameron Hankey. I'll never
Cameron
forget, we
Hankey.
were literally 19 years old, and he was
Uh-huh.
like, bro, I'm gonna buy 7 tickets. And they were like $7, like, little tiny like
Wow.
bar tickets. And I remember being
$49.
like, boom, like, oh my God, you're gonna buy 7 tickets, this is
Yep.
crazy. And
Yep.
eventually, over time, after like little by little, incrementally, I remember being outside of a venue in Seattle. We're like 22 years old,
Uh-huh.
and the venue has a line around the block, and this is like a 500 cap room. And we're like, bro, we didn't do anything to like bring any of these people here. Like, these people are just here because they
Here.
want to see you. This is fucking
Incredible.
crazy. And, it's a testament to just the work speaking for itself.
Of
And
course.
and
And
and I think that's inevitable if you just keep your head down and like keep grinding away with it, and like not
yeah.
not giving in to the peer pressures of people being like, oh my God, look at fucking Augie
Yeah.
posting every single day, what a dork. Because
Yep.
eventually those guys are going to turn around and be like,
Yeah.
yo, Augie, dude, what's up, bro? Can you get me a
Yeah.
Teddy Swims autograph? Yeah, yeah, fuck
Well,
you, dude. And you don't want to say
uh,
fuck you, but you're just like,
I know.
I
In my
see
head, I'm
right
like,
through
I
you.
know how you were. But hey,
Yeah,
I will say another thing. It's a testament to the work, and it's also a testament to the friends,
yeah,
because someone like you who has always believed in someone like Alan, or and has pushed, hey, come on, like, what are you guys doing? Like,
yeah,
that is worth the world, because that reassures, I'm sure that reassured Alan that, like, you know what, like, there is, even if there's one person who's believing in what you're doing, like one of my friends has been going through a rough time where they're like, man, I don't know if I can get any gigs, and I just graduated, and I need this to work, but like, I don't think it's gonna. And I'm like, dude, you are the most talented person I know. Like, if there's anyone who's going to make it work, it's you. You have to, like, just try doing this and this and this. And
yeah,
like, that is the biggest thing for me that's helped me, is like people believing in me. It's like my friends who are like, yeah, that's great. My mom, my grandparents, like,
yeah,
those people are the ones who encourage me to keep going and encourage me to keep working on stuff beyond, people who come along the way, who also, of course, encourage. That's an incredible story. I mean, from I remember in 2000, I want to say 2014 or 2015, my friend Leanne showed me a video of Alan Stone, and I just remember from that moment forward just being like adding on to that journey of like what you're saying. So like in me, like I saw that first video and I was like, I have to show everyone.
everybody, yeah,
I have to show everyone, because this is like insane. I've never heard someone who can like deliver lyrics that he's written. First of all, that he's written so
yeah,
well, and his diction of how he says words, and how he delivers that. Like I was just like enthralled, and like, I got to show this to everybody I know. And
yeah,
the crazy thing is that starts from you.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally.
you
Yes and
know,
no. I mean, like the kid is like inherently gifted, right? And like,
of
there's no
course.
way that like I don't take or will never take any of those credits, But at the same time, like I think you're right. It is a testament to the friendship and
Of
to like
course.
I just like at that point in my life, there
Mhm.
was just like I I had interests of my own. Like I was even like doing music myself and like
Yeah,
trying to
of
kind of
course.
like entertain certain things that I would want to do. I just like it almost became like a hobby to me to be like to getting people to listen. It was less
Yeah.
like I remember like moving to New York and getting like going to parties and being like, "Have you guys heard of Alan Stone?" And they'd be like, "No," and I'd be like, "Oh, sweet, well, let me put it on." And like because it's an undeniable thing,
Oh, yeah. It's
and
like,
and I think you're right. I think like having people in your camp like that are really
mhm.
really important. And sometimes I get in my own head about just like, oh, I'm like a product of the Alan Stone camp. But
No.
fuck that, dude. He's a product of mine. Like we
Exactly, yeah.
we both, and it's not even to say that. It's just like we our
You're
camp
both your own
exists one and the
people.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like that's the best way to build something. And it
of
sounds
course.
like you have like a really solid core group of people in your community that have done the same for you. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
awesome, man. Like when you have, when you can see something that's like special,
Mm-hmm.
You can like tap into it, and then hopefully those people that have that special thing that they're supporting will like come back and pay it forward to you
Of
for like
course.
doing those things, and then also help you kind of amplify your own creative voice and realize like, oh, because through Alan I've learned so much, man, like as
Yeah.
I'm sure you're learning through Teddy and
Oh yeah.
through the other people that you're getting to work with that are like on this different platform,
Uh-huh.
because you get to see like the intricacies of the decisions they're making in this world that you're invested in, and so you're like, okay, cool, like that was like a smart decision, or wow, that was like a really bad decision, because you're getting to
Yeah.
experience that with them. And I
Yeah.
think having Alan be at the forefront of his career, as I've been like not necessarily following behind, I've just been like
A
I've been
part.
doing my own thing, but
Yeah.
having him so accessible to me, I've
Uh-huh.
been able to really like construct my own point of view about how I want to do this
Of course.
through his approach to doing it. Because
Of
it just
course.
like you just adopt certain qualities of a person, and him and I have spent so much time together that it just like it just gets put on you, and
Definitely.
I'm forever grateful for that, man, and
Of
and
course.
forever grateful for like the artists that I get to meet through this relationship. And
Yeah.
I just have to recognize at this point that it's not like I'm not just getting to do it because of him. I
No, of
think
course
I've like
not.
gone
There's
in that direction for a while, and it's just you know, and I'm sure you have friends too, man, that are going to come up at some point. And you're going to be like, oh my god, dude, like, and they're going to be like, you did this for me, and they're gonna and they're going to be like, well, you did this for me, and it's going to be like, oh,
yeah.
well, we just did this for each other, and like
Like
this is what
everyone's
happened.
yeah, it's the biggest thing that people have to understand is that again, relating it back to my friend, like he'll get a follower on Instagram, and then sometimes what he'll do is he'll check to see. He's like, "Oh, do they follow you?" And I'm like, "Dude, like, what does it matter if they
Yeah,
follow?" Like, he'll be like, "Man, this doesn't count. Like, I feel like I haven't earned a follower." I'm like, "Why? If you," and I always try to pull it back. I'm like, "Dude, if you checked out someone's page and their content wasn't exciting and you didn't like it, you wouldn't follow them, right?" He's like, "Yeah, but I feel like I didn't earn." I'm like, "No, you earned that." And the odds of someone following a trumpet player and a saxophone player and a trombone player and of course we're all in the same family. So it's like you have to just be like, "You know what? I deserve what I've earned." And of course people will help you along the way, but no one will no one will invest in somebody or put time into somebody that's not investing time into themselves. So like if you're working really hard on something, you've earned, the opportunities you have. There's no way in hell that I'm going to promote anyone or try to help someone that A isn't there for me as a friend and B doesn't have, like, I'm not going to falsely say that this is the best person at this who is not. If I'm telling people that you're the best, it's because you've worked so hard that you are what I
yeah,
consider to be the best at something. So I think that you just have to own that and say, "Hey, I have this opportunity because I work hard." And it's not just, "Oh well, I'm piggybacking on this." It's like, no, well, the only reason that it's just exposing more people to how incredible you are.
right,
And they wouldn't be there if you weren't. And if I was
totally.
wrong, they would say, "Oh, this he thinks that this person's good. That's ridiculous," and just leave.
Right.
That's it.
Totally, man.
So
Well, it's interesting too, and I'm interested about what your thoughts are on this, because I used to be guilty of doing this as well, in that
yeah,
I would kind of like reduce certain people that I knew who were like exceptionally talented and good. I have a friend who plays professional baseball, and then I
yeah,
have like Alan, and then I have another like professional sports player friend,
yeah. Of course.
and just certain friends that have like come up because like they were incredible from like the before they could even remember.
Yeah,
And I used to like reduce it to being like, well, you're just inherently gifted, and completely disregard the work ethic that
yeah.
went into like all of the days that they continued to practice and practice. And I
Of
wonder
course.
like, does does that like bother you? Do you get that in question sometimes? Like, you're just inherently gifted. Like, you've been playing since you were so young. Like, you just had it. You just had it. Like, but that just like is reductive, and it doesn't really account for all the hard work you put in, because it sounds like you've been busting your
Yeah.
fucking ass.
Yeah, I mean, like I've put a ton of time like into this, and like I am extremely lucky to have a really supportive family who like saw something within me at a young age and said, you know what, like this is what he wants to do. Let's they invested time and money, and I am forever grateful to have that privilege of like my grandparents being able to afford, some private lessons, and not only being able to afford it, but like showing up to every concert I did,
Yeah.
just telling me, you want to go to college for that. That's what you should do. I had some family members who were like, well, and like a lot of people would be like, oh, so like, what are you gonna do like after college? Almost like it's like this, like impending doom. You have 4 years of fun, and then like you're totally screwed. And those people motivated me. Like those are the same people who are like coming to the concert that we did at a stadium, and it's like reassuring to me to be like, see, like if basically, I think with any career, so people say music is such a hard career, and I'm sure acting it's the same way.
Yeah.
But people think it's such a hard career to get into. But I will say this, like if you go to school to be a manager or a lawyer, there are companies you can apply to, and there are businesses that are established that you can present your resume and start. When you're going to be an artist or musician or actor, you are that business, and you are starting from the bottom, and you have to basically prove to everyone that your business is this incredible thing that should be seen and should be. And that becomes tricky because let's say you don't go to school for music and you go to school for whatever business management and you start up a business. If that business fails, the business failed. As an artist, it's tough because you are your business, and sometimes you put a ton of effort into something, you put a bunch of energy, and mentally, maybe that business, maybe that project fails. It's like I feel like I failed.
Sure.
It's a deeper part of me that feels like I failed, but it's also my entire life. There's people with multiple businesses all over the place, and like this is something I need to do, and this is something that is kind of everything to me. So I need it to work out.
Yeah.
Which is a good flame to have, I guess. But it can
Well,
be
yeah.
tricky at
Yeah, it
points.
goes both ways, man.
Yeah.
It resonates strongly with me, man, because there's a need within me to like get them out to do these things,
Yeah.
um, and that is both as equally inspiring as it is terrifying
A
because
hundred
it's on
percent.
you,
A
and you're
hundred
just
percent.
accountable to that thing. And if you're not doing it, um, you don't really get it, and
Yeah.
and it's easy to look from the outside in, being like, "Oh, Augie, are you like you're still playing saxophone, right? Oh,
Yeah.
Julian, you're still acting." It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you have no idea like the
How much?
amount is that's going into all of these things that I'm doing. Like I don't personally talk about, like there's a lot of just like silent work that goes unnoticed that I'm just
Of
like I don't need
course.
to be like sharing every single step of the way.
No, of course.
But it's the inspiring part is awesome. The terrifying part, man, is just inevitable, and that's just like
Yeah.
it's like a rite of passage. It's part of the process, and you
Yeah.
have to really like find comfort in your discomfort,
Of
and be
course.
okay with that. And God, man,
Yeah.
I'm so kind of inspired and impressed by you having the wherewithal to figure that out already at this point in your life.
Thank you. Well,
It's so cool, man.
it's something that like over time I've realized it's because it's like people. I have a lot of friends who are like they're working at banks now, and they're like there was already something there that was kind of waiting for them. And it's like for me when I started college, I was like, all right, there's nothing waiting for me. I have to make things that are going to be waiting. Like I have to basically show everyone what I'm about, and like I'm hoping to God that they will like that. And thankfully I've been able to find like my kind of niche in areas and like continue to grow that. But again, the terrifying part of it I also see as kind of a motivating factor of like I've put out songs that like I thought were like that I was super proud of. Like I have a song Trapped that I like wrote during the pandemic, and I was like this is relatable, and I was proud of the production, proud of all this, and like it didn't do too great. And I was like, man, like what was wrong with it? Did I promote it wrong? Is the song not good? Is my writing not good? It makes you question everything. But that pushes me to be like, okay, what do I try differently, and what might have worked, what elements of this like could have been better, and why. It's a constant like, which I personally I feel like I need like constant like things to do. Like I'm the guy who like I'll be like, we did this tour for example, and like I had the time of my life, but also I know on that tour I was like, man, I'm only sleeping like 4 hours, and like maybe I need a break. And
Need
like
a
I
break.
get home, yeah, I get home for a break, and then I'm like laying in bed, like I need to do something. Like why
Depressed.
am I
Yeah, just like fuck. I need to get up and go.
like why am I doing like I finally have some time where I could do something for my like for like I could write some music or put out, and I'm not doing it. Like why am I not doing that? Like, and then I get into like this polar opposite of like, from like, man, this is I can't sleep at all. There's no time for me. And then as soon as I get home and there's time for me, I'm like, man, I need to be doing all this stuff because I can't
Yeah,
just be doing nothing.
that's a symptom of this
Yeah.
society we live in, man,
Yep.
and more so for I don't know. I can only speak to being an artist because that's what I am
Of
too.
course.
But I get it, man, and it's a challenge. But hopefully you're just forever trying to find that balance within that approach to doing things. And I
Yeah.
don't know, man. Like take it from somebody who's quite a bit older than you. Like I just find time to like really give yourself those breaks. It's
Yeah.
hard when you love what you do. It's like, well,
I
why would I want to
know.
take it? Why would I want to take a break from like doing something that
Uh-huh.
really genuinely makes me happy? Like a break doesn't make me happy,
Yeah.
but it makes you more effective, I think. In a lot of ways when you're able to actually like pull yourself away from it just to get back to it.
You're right.
It's
You're
like
right.
you're supplementing your energy so that you can like go back out and kill it that much harder.
You're right.
um,
I've always found that like I struggle now with that because this is something that I've always done and I've always like loved to do, and it's like now presenting it to people as like this is something that is worthy of money and worthy of like supporting me. Sometimes it's tough. It's like the line can be blurred between like artistry and like job. Like there's I do play weddings. I play a lot of weddings, and it's like I know that the people have a lot of fun and they enjoy it. But like I know for me, like musically, it's I'm gonna make some
right,
money and I'm
right.
gonna play for a couple. Like I don't want.
You're not creatively fulfilled by going and playing
Yeah,
weddings.
like it's for me, it's like someone who's working like a 9 to 5 who doesn't enjoy it, but like they got to do it. So like for me, playing with Teddy is like the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. But I also like have to put out some of my own music, and for a lot of people, it's like what do I have to do like money wise to support myself? And then the best gigs are the ones that are supporting you and you are having the time of your life. So like this tour that I did with Teddy is like literally a dream come true. It's I'm paying my bills, doing something that like for real, I'm getting paid to do this.
Yeah,
I'm traveling the country, like hanging out with like all my best friends. This is
yeah.
like a joke to me.
I know,
For real.
I know, I know.
So,
That's the
um
thing, man. Like our business is pretty inconsistent, so you really
oh
have
yeah.
to look at those moments when you're having them, and just
Mhm.
with such appreciation,
Yeah.
and know that you'll when you get back home and back to not being on that
Yeah.
high space, like
Mhm.
that you're just gonna put in the work and fuck, man, do the wedding.
Yep, exactly. I got a
Shows, and
wedding on Saturday.
do the bartending gigs for me if I have to, do like
Yeah,
whatever it is, man. Like swallow your pride and go do it until you don't have to anymore. And then eventually you're going
exactly.
to be like, oh yeah, man, remember those days? I kind of actually miss them, you know?
Uh-huh,
And then
exactly.
you're going to be like, oh yeah, those were fun, man, because you get farther, man. And just from
Exactly.
what I've seen, man, you get a different perspective on it, and the stresses become equal, if not the same or more. And,
Yeah,
you just have a different bag of weights to carry up the hill with you moving forward.
100%.
So, it
100%.
sounds like you
Yeah.
got a great perspective, man. I've only known you for an hour and 15 minutes, but I'm
Yeah.
proud of you, man. I'm proud of
Thank
you
you
for
so much,
doing
man.
what you're
Same to
doing,
you.
man.
It's like it's having the mindset that you do is the right mindset. It's like, hey, I'm putting my life into this. This is something I need to do, and I am my own person who can carve that path and keep pushing forward because that is undeniable. If you go somewhere and you were like, "Hey, I've put my entire life into this," and you show that, then who can say otherwise? And if they do, then they're just, I would say they're missing out on what you offer, and then that's fine. they kind of see it as they're missing out on, what I've put my life into.
Totally, man. I think
So
this whole entire podcast has been kind of like a blueprint for trying to like get there. But I think I still
yeah.
am interested in like what you would, maybe impart. Cause you're a pretty young kid yourself. You got out of
Yeah.
college. You're kind of like you're on track for yourself. You're doing what you love doing.
Hmm.
Like what would you hope to like impart on some of these kids that are like underclassmen that are coming out of college right now, if you could.
Yeah. So my biggest piece of inspiration that I've always said is people's entire time at school is spent practicing, right? People will practice for hours, 6, 7 hours, just practicing, practicing, practicing. And my biggest piece of advice is however much time you put into practicing, put the same amount of time into showing people that you practiced.
Mm.
So, like, if you're incredible and the best and, you're just playing to a metronome in your room all day, like, if you're going to spend an hour practicing, spend an hour making a piece of content, like showing that, like, hey, I've gotten better at this, and like go to a jam session, play in front of a bunch of people. If you're uncomfortable doing specific things that you feel are necessary in your career, push yourself to go do that, because you have to show people what you do. You have to go out there, and you being the best at something isn't enough, I feel like, these days anymore. So, of course, be the very best at what you can do, but also don't wait until you feel like you are this perfectly sculpted
Mm.
Greek god to show people that like you're working hard, because you will never be that person. I still don't feel like I am where I should be, but if I had that mindset of like I won't I'm not good enough now, I wouldn't have shown people at least what I have now and what I'm working towards. It's a portfolio of this is what I was 3 years ago and this is all the things I can do. So I would just say get out to jam sessions, try posting on social media, and have fun. Like maybe practice, you're practicing an hour of those scales. Make sure you find that hour in the day to say, you know what? I just want to play over this. I just want to play over this funk track. I just want to like don't let practicing be this monotonous, awful thing where it's like I have to do this task um and then, I didn't enjoy it. Like make sure that you keep the fun in whatever you're working on, because that's what's going to motivate you the next day to pick up your horn again, or pick up whatever artistry, whatever you do, it's going to motivate you to do it again tomorrow. So
Yeah, I love that, man. Don't wait. Don't
don't
wait.
wait.
Just it's never gonna be where you want it to be.
Never.
Just put it out, make it
Exactly.
happen.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's something that I can certainly take
Yeah.
with me
And it's
myself, man.
tough. It's tough because I had there's so many times where I have been like, no, it's not ready. It's not ready. I can't do it. And then like there's something within me that's like, just stop and just do it. And
Yeah,
that is like made I feel like I've kind of built my career on that. Just like just do it. Like work and post it. And if it happens,
yeah,
great. If not, just post something else. Just keep trying. Keep trying.
totally, man. Well, you've inspired me, man. And
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna try to implement that more into my the practice that I'm doing currently, and
Awesome,
just
man. I
trying
mean,
to make that happen.
yeah, dude, and I'm gonna be cheering you along. I'm now what you said you were for Alan
Cool, man.
at 19. So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're pushing for stuff, I send it my way and all that. I'm gonna be following,
Great,
and
man.
and
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I appreciate that. It's
of
it's it's
course,
uh it's such an important thing to do, man, to not be like precious with your art and to
no,
think, that like
it
it's
has to be
like
this.
just
Yeah,
let it do its thing. And
of course,
if it's good, people are going to resonate with it and gravitate towards you. And
of
if it's
course.
not, then you're going to just if you care enough, you're going to just keep practicing to get better.
Exactly. You're gonna
Make it
learn from
work.
that. And
Yeah.
like there's music I've put out where I've sent it to some people that I've really respected musically, and because I put it out and sent it to them asking for their opinion on it, I've gotten tons of constructive criticism that's helped me out, and the next project is better. But like there needs to be a first project of like this is what I am, like what do you think? Because that'll just allow you to keep growing.
Totally, man.
So
Well, you, my friend, are a goddamn inspiration. I see big
no,
things
thank
for
you,
you, my
man.
man. Big things for you. It's
Thank
so
you
cool,
so
man.
much.
It's so great to talk to you. I want to let the listeners figure out how they can flood your inbox and
Of course.
give you tell you all the things they like about you. So tell
Of
them where they can
course.
find you.
So you can find me on Instagram. It's at AUGIE_BELLO. So Augie Bello. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter recently. I just tweet like things I'm angry about.
Nice.
And
Take a
then
shot
like
of whiskey and just fucking get pissed.
exactly. And then I started doing, so if you really want to see like a behind the scenes look at the tour with Teddy, I've started doing a vlog. Um,
Nice.
so every Wednesday at 5 p.m. I'm posting on my YouTube channel, Augie Bello, which just is for each show. So like I just posted the vlog from Fenway Park, and it just shows you what it's like to be a touring musician, like the fun parts, the not so fun parts, and like what it's like, to be doing something like that. So if you want to check that
That's
out, that'd be
awesome,
really
man.
cool.
I'm gonna check that shit out. That's
Yeah,
awesome,
that'd be
man. You
awesome.
filmed it all?
Yeah, I filmed it all. My friend
Cool,
Scotty
man.
Madonia edited it for me, so shout
That's
out to him.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
You're a legend, Augie.
Thank you so much, Julian.
I'm super grateful to have gotten to chat with you, man. This
No,
has been
thank you for
great, dude.
having me. I
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
man. Let's get you on the musical that Alan and I are making right now, man.
Hey,
Greg's coming in.
let's do it. Let's put a sax solo somewhere.
Dude, we just need you to fucking show up with that pretty boy face, man, and just come fucking get into acting, bro. Get into acting. Expand your
Let's do it,
palette, dude.
dude.
Expand
I
your palette.
would love to get into acting. I did some acting in high school, and man, I love because I love comedy, and like the sketches that you guys do were like
Yeah.
incredible. So
Dude,
like,
it's the absolute greatest thing we've ever done with ourselves.
oh
And
my
even when
god.
Teddy was just like, bro, I'm like a musical theater kid, man. Like,
Uh
right?
huh.
He was like looking at his script, just like
Yep.
making decisions and stuff. And it was just
Yeah,
like,
man.
I love this shit, man. This
Oh
is
no,
so
it's the
good.
best. It's the best. Yeah. Well,
So
hey
good.
man, count me in. I'm there for it.
You're counted, man. Awesome, Augie. Thanks so much, man. It was
Of
great
course.
talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Julian.
All right, brother.
Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one, huh? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/live at the lodge, where you can support the How Goods of this podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep, yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/live at the lodge.